Thank you for everyone joining. We'll give it another minute before we kick off so that we can let others join. All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Community Hour today, and welcome to the Converged User Group. If you have not joined us before for a Community Hour, welcome. We host these webcasts every other week as an open conversation to discuss various topics that will help you and your team navigate digital transformation. Please note that this webcast will be recorded today. We will also launch a poll at the end and be on the lookout for an email afterwards, which will include a survey link, and if completed, you'll be entered to win a prize. So we definitely appreciate any and all feedback. And with that, I will pass along to David Giesica.
Thank you, Hollis, and thanks everybody for joining another Converged Community Hour. We've got a fantastic episode for you today. A bunch of great experts in the CI and HCI space joining us. If you've joined us before, my stalwart co-host, Jonathan Toulon, who's also the president of the Converged User Group, is unable to make it this week. He is on assignment, but we are excited to have special guest host Pramod Garlaparti, CI and HCI infrastructure extraordinaire expert from InComm. So thank you for joining us, Pramod. For those of you who this is your first community hour, we pivoted to bring the sense of Converged User Group meetings into your home via Zoom. Please use the chat to ask questions of panelists. Please ask the Q&A. This is your opportunity to pick the brains of customer members and subject matter experts. So please take advantage of that. Also, if there are any topics that you folks would love to hear us bring to you, please use the chat or use our email communication to bring that to us. All right, we just wrapped up VMworld last week, and we have on the radar Dell Technologies World coming. So we're going to kick off today with a preview of DTW, and we have the perfect person to do that, Justin Jones, CI and HCI product marketing from Dell Technologies, joining us with a preview. Justin, you out there?
I am. Thanks, Dave. Perfection is a high bar, so it makes me a little nervous, but I think I can cover what we're going to do at Dell Technologies World pretty quickly.
All right, fantastic. Please let us know what we need.
Absolutely. We are excited about it. The good news about Dell Tech World is you don't have to get to your seat early to be in the front row. Pretty much every seat is a front row seat. So as you can see on the slide in front of you, we're going to have our kind of, I wouldn't say standard, but we're going to have our normal keynotes and guru sessions, TED Talks, that sort of thing. You'll see a theme out there as we go through some of the keynotes, right? And a lot of it's about acceleration. Michael Dell is going to come up and talk about how the future is now. We'll have Jeff Clark and Pat Gelsinger talking about accelerating transformation opportunities. John Rose, our CTO, is going to talk about, our global CTO, sorry, is going to talk about accelerating our digital future. And then finally, Allison Dew will be up there talking about human transformation, resilience. And I think this is a year that, you know, maybe highlights a lot of that type of resilience and how we can accelerate those types of activities as well. So we've got some special guest speakers up there with a few of them. So the CEO of Verizon Business is going to be up there. That's Tammy Irwin. We're going to have Angela Duckworth. You may have heard of her before. She works a lot, her character lab. And then finally, we're going to be wrapping up our keynotes with the power of partnering. We're going to have several of our executives up there talking about how it makes sense to partner when talking about transformation, especially when we talk about HCI and CI, we see that a lot. So there's going to be breakout sessions in addition to these keynotes. We'll have Ask the Expert sessions. You can hang out on that slide for just a little bit longer, please, Hollis. There you go. And then interactive demos. We've done a lot of work on our interactive demos to try to make them an experience that's easier to operate remotely from your home. So you'll see some work that we've done to just change the way that those hands-on labs and interactive demos are set up. Sometimes they run a little quicker. We found that it's, you know, when you're sitting in a classroom at Dell Tech World, they can take a little longer. That's okay. There's an experience there, but we found that from home, folks want to move through them a little bit more quickly. So you'll find that we've tried to adapt to that change. And then finally, you know, a big reason people go to Dell Tech World at all is for the networking, right? You learn through these experiences with other customers. You learn through experiences with additional sponsors who are there in the exhibit booth. So we're doing our best to bring that same experience to you, give you that opportunity for a lot of peer-to-peer chats and live Q&A throughout all of our sessions. So for example, we have several HCI and CI technical and business sessions that I'll sit in as a SME, subject matter expert, answering questions, promoting discussion, and that sort of thing. I'm not the only one. We'll have lots of folks, but I'm just one of the many. And of course, you can sign up at delltechnologiesworld.com. That's going to be on October 21st and 22nd. All right, now I'm ready for the next slide, please, Hollis. So what we did is put together kind of the best of HCI and CI. I think you saw something like this for VMworld, so it's probably not all that new to you. We'll have a link to this ready for you. I don't think it's ready today, but maybe in a few days. And Dave and company will make sure that you guys all get it well before Dell Tech World. But I wanted to highlight a few of the kind of more fun things that we've been working on. Of course, we have some great breakout sessions for you to attend, looking at trends across CI and HCI, because that portfolio just continues to get a little bigger and more powerful and feature rich all the time. And then VxRail Advantage. So we're focusing specifically on VxRail to let you kind of see what's coming down the pipe for that. One of the things we're not trying to do is stuff 5 days of content, which Dell Tech World normally is, into 2 days, right? So we've limited back some of that. And so you'll see fewer overall sessions and that sort of thing, but we focused on bringing quality over quantity. We have a number of on-demand videos there that you can watch and learn. I won't go through the whole list. But I want to jump down into some of the fun things in the experience. I've been beta testing the data center sim game for weeks now. And I tell you, it's kind of fun. If you remember back to Sims, like the original Sims where you had to build the houses for your little people and add couches and feed them and make them happy, just take that experience and transport it into a data center. So now you have to find a way to run the jobs and manage this data center without getting overwhelmed. You start as an admin, and you have the opportunity to work your way up to manager, senior manager, director, CIO of infrastructure. So it's kind of a fun game. I hope this is just version 1. I think that it's a good time. We've got more of the infrastructure AR experiences. So the opportunity to look at, I think, many of our CI and HCI products in an augmented reality experience. Spin them around, zoom them up, look at them a little closer. Let's see, the hands-on lab and the ruggedized 360 viewer for the VxRail. Both of those are new and improved. We've got a number of customer stories MetLife is specifically around VxBlock, and then we've got SwiftTrain, a utility firm for VxRail, and then a whole host of other resources. So if you're interested in Azure Stack, if you need to look more at the CI side, IT modernization can't wait. Information Hub is going to be pretty cool. So we've got a whole list of assets and resources that talk specifically about CI and how that continues to move transformation and modernization forward. And then finally, a whole host of new reports and solution briefs and infographics for HCI. So there's a lot coming. Some of this stuff will start becoming available before Dell Tech World even starts. So take a look back when you want to. And it's hard to see on this picture. I think our colors got mixed up, but there is a converged user group opportunity to connect with your peers as well, right there in the middle of the screen. When we send you this form, it'll be easier to read, I promise.
Yeah, we'll work on that. Thanks, Justin. That's all.
No problem.
Well, that's also, I think I cut you off a little bit. I was too excited about the segue that you teed up. So not only is Dell Technologies presenting a whole great treasure trove of information on CI and HCI, but Hollis, are you out there? I think the Converged User Groups figured out a way to also bring members some involvement and connect with DTW. Can you let us know what's going on there?
Yeah, that's right. So Converged User Group, along with all of the Dell Technologies user communities, will be participating at Dell Technologies World, which we're very excited about. You can connect with us in the networking area. We'll have information there about the user group upcoming events and also a discussion board. And our Converged team and board members will be moderating that chat. So please stop by for a virtual visit. We'd love to see you.
Very cool. There's a lot of great stuff happening. I'm going to miss being at DTW with everybody and all the opportunities to network, but I think we're doing the best we can, certainly with the remote. And I tell you, I will not miss the 6 hours flying to Vegas and then turning around and flying back. So some good and some bad. We had one question in the chat in Q&A while that came in. Justin, if you could answer this. I think so, but I'm not sure with the beta test. Somebody would like to beta test the data center sim game. Do you have some information on us for us?
I'm not sure of the opportunity there. It is fun. So it's an anonymous attendee. Can you send a note to Dave and we'll get in contact and I'll see if we can make that happen. We can ask.
All right. Yeah, we can certainly ask, but you know what? You did jog my memory. And after DTW, I believe, Hollis, you can correct me on the date, but early November, we have another community hour where the creator of the data center sim game is going to come on and talk to the community about the data center sim game and walk you through it. So beta test may be closed right now. I don't know. We'll get that answer for you, but fear not. We do have an exclusive post-DTW for the user group, Converged User Group, to check it out and get involved. So thank you very much. All righty. Well, Justin, much appreciated. Thank you for that rundown. It's always good to be able to get the members the information that's really key and relevant to them. Let's see. Pramod, how you doing today? Thanks for joining. Check mute. I think you're double blind.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. And I'm well. How are you guys?
Awesome. Fantastic. So one of the things that we thought we would do, and I've got the great guest to do this with, last community hour, we really highlighted a lot of VxRail stuff. It was going into VMworld. Now is an opportunity to bring members an update as to what's going on with the VxBlock. So we have compiled not only a customer expert, but a panel of subject matter experts from Dell Technologies, thank you very much, to have a roundtable. So let's see here. We've got, I Pramod, what is your actual title? I think CI, HCI infrastructure guru would be fantastic, but that's probably not what they call you at InComm.
I'm Senior Manager of Infrastructure Engineering and Operations at InComm, David.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for sharing that with everybody. We also have a fantastic subject matter expert panel. Cheryl Curran is Director of Product Management for Converged Infrastructure at Dell Technologies. And joining her is Launa Allen, Senior Product Manager for Storage on VxBlock. Right, Launa?
Correct, David.
Fantastic, thanks. And Martin Hayes, Senior Principal Engineering Technologist. Ooh, that sounds so fancy. Also focusing on VxBlock. So Martin, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right, before we kick it off with the panel, Pramod, I was hoping you could give folks a little sense of what you do at InComm. Maybe let's just step back for those who aren't familiar with InComm. What is InComm? What does your environment look like? And an overview of your CI, HCI experience. So
Sure.
Would you please walk folks through, set a little context for them?
Absolutely. Thank you, David. So InComm is a fintech company. So we offer solutions for gift cards, payment industry across the globe. So we do business in a lot of countries across the globe, and it's a 24/7 operations. So from an infrastructure perspective, we are very heavily invested in CI, HCI. Right now at InComm, we have 4 VxBlock 740s, 5 VxBlock 540s, and several instances of VX racks and VX rails. The coolest thing we do at InComm is basically we leverage SRDF Metro to do an active sync between 2 VMAXs between our data centers. So that's the coolest thing we do. I think something different from other customers we do. And apart from this, all our data is protected by our data domain as a backup solution. So that's a kind of pretty much what we have from an infrastructure perspective at InComm.
Thanks, Pramod. And also, the key thing that you guys do, if anybody out there has had, the Apple gift cards, Apple Store gift cards, you guys, that's where they may have touched InComm. Yes, Apple gift cards is one of our, portfolio. Yes, we do gift cards pretty, let me keep it this way. 80% of the old gift cards, we process them. But 80% of the global gift cards are processed by InComm Technologies, are supported by InComm Technologies. So we are pretty much everywhere. It's absolutely incredible. And when you guys get into your busy season, which is around the holidays, is there a number you can share roughly how many transactions you're doing? It blows my mind to even think of those numbers. Yes. We do incredibly large number of transactions during the last 6 weeks of the year. That's pretty much, that's a large part of our revenue as a company. We almost hit 2,600 TPS, or sometimes at 1 year we hit 3,000 TPS on majority of the segments. So when I say TPS, it's transactions per second. So at the peak time, we hit 3,000 transactions a second, and we have to build systems to sustain that level of workload. And also, and like everywhere, you have to be prepared for a little extra every time. So if the last known history is 3,000, we should be prepared for a little more than that. We keep 30% our ballpark, so we prepare for 4,000 TPS. So our systems are designed to sustain and survive and perform at the optimum levels to handle 4,000 TPS. Yeah, absolutely incredible. And I think it goes without saying, but because I'm the host, I have to say it. Any little bit of downtime, really, particularly when you're doing 3,000 transactions per second, that's a giant hit to the business. So it's important that you guys have a very resilient and available. Absolutely, David. Yes, even a couple of minutes of a blip would cause huge ramifications. It's not only that 2 minutes lost transactions, they will be queued up. We have queuing mechanisms too, so they will be queued up in our system. So then it will become like
whether you process those transactions first and hold up everything coming else, or you process everything together and break the system. So it will be a huge decision to be made all the way. It goes all the way up to CEO. So typically, we would like to keep our systems 100% up during these times.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, thank you for that overview. That's fantastic. And folks, if you have any specific questions, please put those in the chat or use the Q&A for Pramod. Now, Pramod, we've assembled a roundtable of experts for you. Do you want to kick it off? Shall I hand it over to you and you can kick off the conversation?
Sure, glad. So I'll start with Cheryl, the person whom I met multiple times over last few years. Nice meeting you, Cheryl, again here, and thank you for bringing a bunch of experts from your team to help us getting some answers.
Always my pleasure. It's so great to see you again.
So I know there's a lot going on in the VxBlock world, and along with everyone, I'd like to know what's coming in and what's new in that world. Can you please give us some insights?
Sure. I actually have just put together 2 slides, and maybe Hollis could bring them up just to share them with the team here. And what I just wanted to do is kind of share with you what's new, what did we deliver this past quarter, and then what can you expect next quarter. At any time, certainly we're available to kind of give you a sneak peek into what our plans are for 2021 as well. But let's talk about what's new. In Q3, we introduced PowerStore as a Dell EMC new array that was brought to market, launched by the business unit in June, and we brought it into the VxBlock just in Q3. Also, we're staying current and introducing the new support with NSXT with 3.0 now available on VxBlock. So for security and other applications, customers can now leverage those technologies on the block itself. We also introduced a couple new programs which I think everyone should be aware of and hopefully can benefit from. One is what we're calling the VxBlock 1000 upgrade program. For those of you who have an install base of VxBlocks, whether it be the models 350, 540, or 740. So Pramod, this might benefit you as well with your install base of 540s and 740s, is we have an engineered process to take a look at the assets that you have in those systems and bring them forward into a VxBlock 1000. As most of you may know, the 1000 really was designed as a perpetual architecture, meaning it has a backplane or a spine that we can plug in and out new technologies as they emerge. So no longer are you buying up that product with just those types of components. So if I have a 350, let's say, that has a Unity array in it, and the 350 as a model is has gone end of sale, so it may be reaching end of primary support at a certain date, well, you might want to take the Unity, because the arrays still have additional life, maybe your M4 or blades in there, and bring those forward from Cisco. So it gives you an opportunity to decouple the components on your floor, bring them forward into a 1000, and minimize your cost of the 1000, because you can reuse your assets, kind of extending your return on your original investment, and really into perpetuity. So until those arrays are truly end of serviced by Dell EMC, you can leverage those in a new system. So I think it's an interesting way to have a cost-effective way to get you thinking about the future, preserving your investment while giving you the full flexibility and the scalability and reliability that's now in the 1000. So but that program is something that you just talk with your account managers, and we would do an audit of your system, just tell you what you need to do, and then we would come on site and do that migration for you. And then on our VxBlock Central, we've made a lot of investments on our management software over the past 2 years, and really coupling it or integrating it with Cloud IQ, which is our software as a service platform for information management of, it was originally brought out focused on the arrays, everything from your capacity planning, performance, and all of the arrays. But we've integrated the VxBlock components into that as well. So it's really important for us to give that access to all of our customers. So now the VxBlock Central is not a licensed package. It's now available to all of you for your install base as well as your net new systems as if you acquire them. So what this does is it gives you access to inventory, the collection of information, and through our SRS process, we would ship that data up to the Cloud IQ environment, and we will provide you reporting on it. That gives us the ability to give you visibility into what are the systems and components lifecycle dates, where am I in my maintenance renewal process, so you can do some forecasting and management. And then ultimately, how do my components interoperate? If I wanted to do a new technology upgrade, what other components would be impacted that I would maybe need to bring along as a joint upgrade? We also have workflows, and these are engineered by Dell EMC engineers, so they are kind of proof tested and sustained. I think that's probably the biggest thing on these workflows. Based on VRO, you can build your own, but if we've built them, we know they work on the block. We also know that as we go from one vSphere version to the next, we take on that burden of doing those upgrades. So again, maybe something that could help in the way you think about operating your blocks. I think we had one customer that, to put in a new blade, it took about 45 minutes, but with the workflow, it brought that down to minutes. So you clearly a time saver. So it's now something that is just simply available to you that you might want to talk to us about, and would love to explore with you how we can help you make your day-to-day easier. And then we round it out with advanced analytics. So some heat maps and quick views of the performance of your system so that you can quickly identify if there are areas that you need to look on. So that's what we've delivered in Q3. And then if we take a quick look, Hollis, to the next slide onto Q4, what's coming? We're rounding out, like I said, we have NSX-T 3.0. We're going to house that on our new vSAN amp, and this is all going to be released November, the first week of November, so really coming soon. With that, you'll be able to leverage vSphere 7.0, and we also have a new FI coming from Cisco as well being incorporated. Then, which I talked about the Cloud IQ, and this is just to kind of pictorially show you what I was talking about. Here is the new report that will be coming end of Q4 that shows you where all of your components are and where they are in their life cycle as far as your maintenance contracts. So we know you buy a system and then you add components over time. It can become unruly as far as what's in there, when was it board, where was the inventory. So here we're going to show you, within the next 6 months, with the red highlights, you might want to upgrade, renew the maintenance support, what's coming in the next year, and then what's really good beyond that year. And Hollis, you can just take, so that's what's coming in Q4, and then quickly fast following, for those of you who are already using the Cloud IQ implementation, we had a milestone report which shows you that whole life cycle of every component. Here we're adding the system life cycle, so you're going to be seeing if I have multiple systems in my environment, where are they in their life cycle from an end of life, primary support, renewal, and then truly end of life. So you can do better planning and see what's coming in the next 6 months, 12 months, 5 years, just to have a quick view. And then the next report, Hollis, is our interoperability. And this is when it gets, I think, really interesting to help you manage what you've used and hopefully enjoyed. Maybe I'll ask Pramod about that, around the RCM. This takes that to another level and gives you the information at your fingertips of all the components in your system, how many are out of compliance, meaning they're older than what we would recommend you run them at. And then when you go and look at that component, you can get a view of, okay, if I want to upgrade that switch, you also need to upgrade these other 2 software packages. So we give you that interoperability view if you were to modularly upgrade your systems. So that's what's coming Q4 and then slightly beyond on the Cloud IQ tool.
Wow, that's really, really fantastic. I mean, like as a person who sees, who is so much concerned about the asset value and investment, the VxBlock 1000 program, the build program, that will be really, really helpful to a lot of customers. So basically, we can reuse whatever whatever the components have still life cycle left, and building VBlock and new VBlock with it is really phenomenal. That's really great.
We really want you to be able to, eke out every value dollar of your original investment.
I like that. Yeah, that's the best part probably of this session, I think. I love that. And also, coming back to a little bit about this Cloud IQ, yes, all these features, what you're going to release in Q4, they'll be extremely valuable, Cheryl, because as a customer and as a person who runs a pretty large environment on a day-to-day basis, these features are certainly a game changers. Like the renewal, the maintenance renewal notifications, and the system, the interoperability. We'll talk about it later, but the interoperability, yes, this will be game changers for us. Thank you.
Terrific. And I know you just went through a fairly extensive system upgrade. Maybe you could tell us a little bit how that went, and maybe we could talk about where you think some of these tools might help you even make it.
Sure. As I told, our portfolio is pretty vast from a CI/HCI perspective. So we have embarked on a journey of upgrading all our VBlocks this year, which is traditionally called RCM upgrades, Release Certification Matrix, for the folks who don't know. So Release Certification Matrix, in its current format, it dictates you to update all the components in the stack. That means starting from the northbound, you do your 9Ks, your UCS, your fabric interconnects, chassis, IOM modules, downwards, SAN switches, and storage arrays. You got to touch every component in this process. So we took almost 8 months, including the planning and execution this year. And I think we kind of mastered it now. This year, our experience was phenomenal. We got great testimonials from our, executive team, CIO and customer CIOs. This year's RCM's by far the best, and we couldn't, ask for a better experience than this. So we nailed it this time.
Well, fantastic. Well, hopefully some of these tools will help shrink that 8 months down a little bit for you, and especially in your planning phase.
Absolutely, Cheryl. That will play a huge role. That's why I'm so excited when I saw that.
Terrific.
That's great. And I think, we can come back to this for a little bit. We've got Launa and Martin, as you mentioned, a lot of great stuff coming. So it's, very, very incredible updates. Pramod, we'd love to hear your kind of thoughts, but also I think we've got some other neat things coming that members need to hear. So who's up next?
Absolutely. Next question, I think, Launa. I saw PowerStore. I think pretty much all the CI members or Converge user group members are pretty familiar with all the rest of the arrays, PowerMax, Extreme IO, Unity, everything. PowerStore is something new that's new to the portfolio, CI portfolio. So can you please talk a little bit about this PowerStore? How does it fit into the game, and what are its benefits, and what are the use cases, and how easy it is to integrate PowerStore into the VBlock?
Sure. Hey, Pramod. How are you? And thanks for joining us. Good. So I guess to mention, first of all, today with the 1000, we do offer that unprecedented offering for our customers that they can mix and match the Dell EMC storage arrays that are available today to support, their multiple workloads. So you're right. So we have enhanced our portfolio with PowerStore. So PowerStore really is the next generation mid-range product from Dell Technologies, right? It's a completely new platform, which has been designed, from the ground up using modern container-based architecture. And it's also built up from the ground up for NVMe, right? So PowerStore, the PowerStore offering really kind of eliminates some of the traditional trade-offs that we kind of see today, right, in terms of performance, scalability, another, and I guess the storage efficiency. Especially with it has this whole data-centric, intelligent, kind of adaptable infrastructure that, you know, transforms and mobilizes, I guess, both the traditional and the modern workloads today. So it also, right, that single architecture now supports block, file, and VMware vSphere virtual volumes as well, right, that allows the platform, I guess, to accommodate a wide variety of the traditional and modern workloads, right? By providing that storage in multiple formats, application, it delivers that workload flexibility for customers, right? And enables also administrators to simplify and I guess consolidate their infrastructure, right? So today the VxBlock system 1000 has integrated the PowerStore T model. So that's the 1000, 3000, 5000, 7000, and the 9000 today. So I guess in terms of how is it different, right? I guess PowerStore is the start of a new paradigm in terms of the enterprise class storage. It's designed not just to scale to meet the growing data needs, but it also, you know, provides that integrated data reduction. You've seen that 4-to-1, the automatic data placement with that AI it has built in, and the machine learning, basically just to streamline the operation and bring these to your vSphere deployments. So like in terms of how customers can add it to their existing environment today, you know, we make it as easy as possible. So as I mentioned, you know, you can bring in PowerStore today. We've engineered it and tested it for both greenfield and brownfield customers today. So all you would have to do is reach out to your account managers who will work with you to discuss your specific use cases and ensure that that offering is sized accordingly and appropriately to yours, right? And also on top of that, customers can avail of our standard professional services offering. This will involve minimal effort from a customer point of view. As with any upgrade today, we provide a detailed evaluation as part of that service into your environment, including risk factors, the management of production uptime will be discussed and agreed. And part of that as well, we carry out a physical and logical survey that is carried out by the PS team to really kind of look at that in more detail. Does that help answer your question, Pramod?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Launa. I mean, like, it's very exciting to hear about the PowerStore, and I hope it will be another best array in Dell EMC portfolio, storage portfolio. Thank you.
Absolutely. No problem, Pramod.
I really like that you thought about the brownfield, you know, because folks like Pramod in InComm and other members who are listening to this already have their VBlocks, right? So how quickly, Launa, can they get, you know, if this turns into something that they're interested in, how quickly and what's the lift to get that in? I know they have to talk to their account teams, but can you talk in general?
So sorry, I should have mentioned that. So it's available today. So in September, we may have announced the availability for our existing customer base. So it's there ready to be sized up and ordered today for the customers. And it's non-disruptive, right? We can add in the array. It won't impact your existing environment. And as I said, that PS service helps to ensure that smooth installation of it into that existing environment and taking into all those factors as well, David.
Thank you. That's great.
All right. Thank you,
No
Launa.
problem.
Thank you, David. Next, Martin, you're up.
Hey, Pramod. How are you
Hey.
doing?
Good, sir. Thank you. Hope you're doing well too. Hey, we heard a lot about, you know, software and virtualization side of the house during the last week's VMworld. I mean, like, there's certainly a lot of, you know, concepts for us as customers to digest. NSXT, I mean, like, you know, your model of AMP, vSphere 7. So what should we know as CI, you know, users? Can you please provide some insights?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the way I like to kind of answer that question is, you know, firstly, individually, right? Secondly, collectively, and third, then potentially to, you know, display what kind of use cases customers can derive from them, right? So Cheryl talked about earlier, she you know, NSXT 3.0 launched a couple of weeks back, and that delivers enhancements from VMware that we pass through to the block in terms of specifically specifically Federation, right? So for that DR type capability with NSXT, for the first time that NSXT is introduced that, and some more security enhancements around VRF and so on, right? The second piece of that puzzle is really vSphere 7. We're looking to release that in Q4. vSphere 7, as people know, adds features around a lot of modern application type features, Kubernetes, vSphere, Tanzu, right? So a lot of people are familiar and getting more and more familiar with VMware on the whole Tanzu portfolio. The third piece is more of a hardware platform to house both the control and management platform for NSXT and for vSphere 7 as well, right? Now that adds more additional functionality to our AMP based on Cisco vSAN ready nodes to add what's been kind of missing from our portfolio for a while is to, and I heard you earlier on talk about you had vPlex Metro or SRDF Metro rather, but it will allow our customers to provide that same level of active capability and DR for the management plane as we do with the production plane with, for instance, with vPlex Metro and SRDF Metro. So that's the second, so that try to goes through in that three pieces of the puzzle right together, right? Of course, if you look at the VMware portfolio, that's NSXT 3.0, that's VCF, I'm going ahead of myself, that's NSXT 3.0, that's, and the AMP and vSphere, right? All together, come together to give you VCF, right? So of course, VCF, we're looking at it in the future as well, and we're future forwarding a little bit, but I think, you know, it's obvious that that platform can support VCF, but also that platform, the AMP new vSAN AMP can support, for instance, a BYO type cloud use case for customers if they want to do something else, right? Other than VCF, right? So other cloud type use cases with their own workload, management workload, right? So that's why we're coming out with the vSAN AMP in 3 different variants. A baseline and the standard and platinum, right? So the platinum for the cloud type use cases, but baseline for customers who just want to dip their toes, single site, maybe 3 or 4 servers up front on single site, but then grow into multi-site in the future, all right? And of course, I think David referred to earlier on as well, are the importance of greenfield and brownfield. Obviously, we'll have greenfield and brownfield services for customers who are looking for existing VxBlocks, whether they go from a 540, 740 to a 1000, using the program that Cheryl alluded to, or to swap out their existing AMP to give them that existing functionality, right? Rushing through this, I don't have slides, right? So I think you're thankful for that, right? The third piece of this puzzle, though, and it kind of ties into what Launa said earlier on, is, you know, what do we get from a solution, right? In terms of outcomes, right? So we've talked about hardware and we've talked about software, but in terms of outcomes, what do we get, right? So, you know, this allows us to do, as I said, with vSphere 7.0, with that new management platform to deliver modern applications. And when I say about modern applications, vSphere Tanzu sometime in the future, Kubernetes in the future, Docker, in coexistence with your traditional apps based on vSphere, right? And vSphere and ESXi and your traditional hypervisor. That ties into closely what Launa said, and another where we see a lot of excitement around PowerStore is PowerStore's native integration with persistent storage at the back end, which really ties together that whole now management story or production story with our production workload on the production cloud ready array, right? To deliver modern apps with PowerStore, with your AMP vSAN, with vSphere 7 and NSXT, right? So NSXT going forward is good. You know, traditionally, NSXT, the primary use case is around microsegmentation. We see with modern apps, with the broadening portfolio there, is NSXT plays a really important role in auto-provisioning networks for container workload space, all right? Because it's really important, the automation piece around that workload. All right, so a lot there, Pramod, all right? So, you know, so folks will have my contact later on. So if they want to reach out later on or after the call, please be free, right? So, because we have a lot of detail in 3 to 5 minutes. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Martin. Yes, that's a ton of stuff. I'm really excited. I mean, like, one reason I'm excited is, you know, with that vSAN AMP, it's been, I mean, I've been asking Dell folks from a lot longer time about that to maintain, you know, highly available, I mean, like high availability for my AMP stack. With vSAN, certainly, I think we can do that Metro thing. So yes, and a lot of cool features with the NSXT and vSphere 7. Yeah, we are short on time. We can't drill into all the things, but yes, thank you for the answer, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, so no, that's great. And as I said, just on that vSAN AMP, right? So obviously it reduces your footprint as well, right? The physical footprint in the data center. And it decouples your failure domains, right? From, for instance, it's a great use case for you, right? In terms of SRDF Metro for your production workload and AMP vSAN to provide that high availability or active type data center capability for your management plane.
Yeah, certainly. Even from a even from a maintenance perspective, it will help us a lot. So yeah,
Correct.
That's great future. Thank you.
That was line of sight for us as well. Yeah.
Sure.
Hey, Martin, David, to interrupt here, how, what would that look like for Pramod getting, or someone, an existing customer getting this new vSAN AMP into their system? How easy? What timeline? What's it take? Can you shed any light there?
Yeah, so we will have a brownfield service, right, to migrate. So if a customer wishes, I mean, we still have an AMP based on Unity, right, and Unity XT, and it serves a specific use case, and it's great, right, in terms of that specific use cases. But for customers who are interested in AMP vSAN, we will have a migration service to get them from their existing AMP infrastructure to an AMP vSAN based on tried and trusted. You know, so folks are probably familiar around that, our brownfield expansion, right? So the same type of look and feel. Now, obviously, that'll take some planning, all right? So we'll have to work with professional services around migrating existing management workload off and on and so on and so forth, right? But broadly, the same process, right? So, you know, very, very top of mind for us, right? Because we're very conscious that we have a very loyal, you know, brownfield customer base, right? As of folks on the call, right? So we want to be able to give that experience, that new modern architecture experience for our existing customer base, not just the new ones, right?
Yeah, I mean, it will be a really cool option. I think the timing works kind of well for us. We are in the middle of a huge hardware refresh proposal right now, so I think the timing is great for us. Thank you.
Yep, no
it's
problem.
A good time to be shopping for CI.
Yes, it's time to shop.
Oh, I think CI. So. Yeah, we can help you there, Pramod.
Fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
So we are approaching the last quarter of the hour, and we try to turn some time back to folks. We call it an hour, but we like to make sure people can take bio breaks and get a little break from Zoom and everything. Before we wrap up, certainly anybody out there, please use the chat or Q&A to send any questions to the panelists. And Pramod, you know, you've gotten a lot from 3 experts. I'm sure you have questions. Is there anything really pressing that that you want to raise or drill into? Now would be a great time for that.
So one question, yes, I certainly got a lot of information, but I think last question goes to Cheryl back on the free, on the free install of the VxBlock Central. So Cheryl, if you don't mind, can you just quickly go through on what are the features with the base model and what we get out of it when compared to the paid models? And if I'm an existing customer with an existing VBlock, how easy or how hard it is to install the VxBlock Central base?
Great. We do recommend that people do a full refresh installation, and it takes about a half an hour worth of time. What we do ahead of time is we're going to use it's just a spreadsheet to pull your information, your data off of the current application, and then we would port that over into VxBlock Central. So fairly simple to install and get up and going. For those who are not connected via SRS to back to Dell EMC Data Lake to our Cloud IQ, we'd want to install that because that's really where you're going to get the bulk of your value coming for the lifecycle management piece. But clearly there are enhancements even on the on-prem level of inventory. You can then leverage the workflows and the advanced analytics independent of that SRS connectivity. But we would really, that would be part of the conversation. So, reach out to your, your account team, and they'll send someone in from professional services to, look at what you have, what we need to migrate, and then how do you want to expand that, hopefully with SRS and in the Cloud IQ enablement as well. And so it's, you know, a little bit of prep time, about an hour or so to get the job done, and then a little bit of learning after. So not a lot of time, but hopefully we've made it as simple as possible.
Ah, that's great. Thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, if it's going to be completed in such short time, I think it's worth a shot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, fantastic. And thanks, everybody. Pramod, thank you for being the special guest host. I really appreciate it. And it's always great to get customer perspective out to the community. Cheryl, Martin, Launa, thank you very much for being taking the time to have this conversation, have this roundtable, do the deep dive into VxBlock, give us a sense of what's coming for the future. And also thank you for paying attention to existing customers with VBlock and really catering to that. That means a lot to the user group.
Well, they mean a lot to us. So thank you, Dave, for inviting us. And Pramod, wonderful to see you and everyone. Thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Pramod.
Okay.
Fantastic. So let's see here. I think out there in the ether is Hollis. Hollis, are you there?
I am here.
All right. One final thing, though. Hollis, I need to interrupt. I'm sorry. I do have to thank our sponsors, not only the attendees, but our sponsors. Thank you, Dell Technologies, and VMware for helping make this possible. Much appreciated. Over to you, Hollis.
All right. I just launched a poll that we would greatly appreciate if you are able to complete. Again, thank you for joining this morning. One announcement that we would like to make: on November 19th, we have a very exciting program planned. Our Converged Looking Forward event will take place at 12 p.m. Eastern, and I just put the registration in the chat. We will hear from some great speakers, including a very special keynote speaker. So feel free to go ahead and register today and be on the lookout for additional announcements coming soon.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hollis. All right. Well, is there any more information that we need to get to members? Hollis, I think, are we ready to wrap then?
I think that we are. I put in, there's on November 5th, our next community hour will take place November 19th, our Looking Forward event, and be on the lookout for an email later today with an additional survey.
Great. And yes, as a reminder, the next, so we'll skip a session for the Converged User Group Community Hour because that's the same week as Dell Technologies World. So after Dell Technologies World, we will reconvene on our schedule, and that will be the preview of the data center sim. Of course, we'll discuss Dell Technologies World and other things coming for CI and HCI. Thank you, panel, again. Thank you, Pramod, for being such a fantastic co-host. And thank you, Justin Jones, Hollis, and Ann for helping make this possible. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. Much appreciated. Be safe, and we'll see you on the next Community Hour. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.